Welcome everyone to another episode of the Person Behind the Profile series. I have a really special guest with me this week. All my guests are special, but this one is a little extra special. Belinda Smith. How are you, Belinda?
I'm really well, thank you, Amy. How are you? I am a special guest.
You are. So I'm going to introduce Belinda properly, right? Belinda is the founder of Rare, Renovate and Real Estate. She has been in the property space and has been investing in property and renovating for over 30 years. She also manages an online community of passionate renovators and has coached and trained over 500 renovators, teaching them the skills to renovate for themselves, but also turning renovation into a lifestyle business as well. So thank you so much for joining me, Belinda. The other thing I need to add here as well is, like you might have picked up already, Belinda just so happens to be my mum as well. So there we go.
I think as I've grown older, Amy, I've grown blonder. So that tricks a few people. When I was dark, we looked way more alike. So thank you so much for having me on your live. I really appreciate it. I know you know my story very, very well. We've been on the journey together, and for me to watch you grow and you do these LinkedIn lives and you grow your online brand as well has been very exciting for us. We are an entrepreneurial family, and it's just very rewarding to see what you've done.
That's such a mum thing to say. But anyway, let's dive in, guys. I would love to hear if you are joining us. Let us know where you're coming in from. I'd love to hear. I know we're live on YouTube. We're live in my Facebook group, LinkedIn Accelerators for Coaches and Consultants. And we're also live on LinkedIn. So if you're joining us now, I would love to hear where you're coming in from. And whilst people start to come in as well, if you're on the replay, do hashtag replay because that will let us know too. So Belinda, I would love to kick things off with you around your journey. You mentioned there, we are a bit of an entrepreneurial family, but it wasn't always that way. You know, growing up, you were in the police force for the majority of the time that I was growing up. So talk to me a little bit around your story for those of you that are listening to this that might not know you as well as I do, to share a little bit about your journey and what led you to doing what you're doing now.
Yeah, like Amy said, I grew up in Caringbah South, which is near Cronulla. I grew up in a family of very conservative parents, middle class, nothing spectacular, but a really beautiful, loving home. I had a very nice childhood, didn't do without very much. But I saw Mum and Dad do a renovation. They actually flipped a home in around about the 70s. And so I just understood that if you grabbed a property and you added value to that property, that you could actually flip that property and make profit. So I just grew up knowing that. And then when I was married, I was in the police force, like you said, and your dad, my husband, I was a mechanic by trade. This is a weird interview, I know. He's a mechanic by trade, and our incomes weren't that great. In fact, we struggled along. We bought a home unit, we renovated that, we added value to that home unit, we flipped that unit, and then we bought a really old house on the waterfront at a place called Kurnell, which I dearly love, and we knocked that over because it was in terrible condition, and we built a new home alongside a builder. What I understood is that our wages weren't very much, but property could take us along the way. It could improve our lifestyles. We could improve the equity. We were growing equity along the way. We were actually growing wealth through property. And I think I had an understanding of that through Mum and Dad. And then it grew into a necessity when I married your beautiful dad, who was a mechanic. And like I said, I was in the police, and I started to work some part-time hours while I had all of you children all in a row. So, you know, a career like this was just far from my thoughts. But when I left the police force after 21 years, I, like many others in defence forces and nurses, emergency services, just people who are very institutionalized in a demographic of work, start to wonder what can they bring to the outside world, like what can we do beyond what we've always known for many, many years. And renovating is something that Brett and I had done together, and property investing as well, not just renovation, lots of other property strategies. So I kind of fell into it because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to hear from everyone that's listening to this as well. May's joined us. Hi, May. Great to have you on here as well. I'd love to hear from you as well. If you've been in a career before and then you've made a career transition into doing something a little bit differently. And like Belinda said, or mum, I should just call you mum, that's more authentic. Like mum said, being able to think a little bit differently around your circumstances and not just being tied into your job in terms of a way to grow your income. Let me know in the comments below if you've done something that's a little bit different or a little bit outside of the box like mum has done as well, which is awesome. And now I know, because obviously I'm your daughter, I've been there for the journey. I've seen the ride. You're a pretty ambitious woman, which is probably where I get things from. And you decided to actually turn your passion for renovating into a business. Now, I wanted to bring you on tonight because I know there's a lot of people listening to this as well that may be thinking about making the leap into their own business, but they just haven't been able to make that leap yet or get started. And one of the things that I've loved seeing you do in your business is actually really grow it through social media as well. And so tell me a little bit about the early stages of how you really got started in your business journey.
I knew just from watching other people grow a business from scratch that my best hope, particularly in the renovation space, particularly with DIY projects and builds and tiles and like all the stuff around renovating, I knew it was quite popular. It was a popular topic. So I thought my best hope to test an audience to see if there was any kind of demand was to start on social media. Now, starting on social media when you're my age, that's a challenge. All the kids in my family know how often I've had to ring them up or annoy them and say the technology of these platforms has been a challenge for me. But, beyond figuring all of those things out along the way and annoying all the kids, asking for help, just to see it progress via social media has been very, very rewarding, and it's also been very, very cheap. So I think there are a couple of ways of starting a business. Either you go and pay someone for their expertise to help you on your way, or you throw money at somebody to set up that whole platform for you, and that costs a lot. And a lot of people, when they're starting out, don't have the funds. Or you start hustling along on social media and you grow your brand and your business yourself, which is what I did. Back then, I started with Bestie, and we just started posting on Facebook. We quickly grew our audience to 33,000 people, which is that's a lot, right? So it's a popular topic, and it was fun for us to do, but there's no income attached to that unless you work out from that how you are going to generate your income. So we opened up a consultancy, a renovation consultancy. We started that way, and we just started to believe in ourselves as we started to go along. I think that was the biggest thing for me at my age and coming from the police force, is like, okay, I'm in this world. It's very strange. Is anybody going to take me seriously? Am I going to earn, reasonable income through this? And as you know, Amy, the income's been amazing, more than I ever could have imagined. But in those early days, it's like I was fumbling around, just working away. I could see the big picture. I'm a big picture girl, but all the little bits and pieces coming not good at. And energy beats age all day long. I've got a big engine, and I'll just keep going.
Totally. So great to have you here as well. Stuart also mentioned before around the growth mindset, and I think that's so important. I think you were actually the one, Mum, that was saying to me, why don't you quit your corporate job? Just get out there and start already. Just quit, right? And I don't know, maybe there are some others out there that would say that as well, but a lot of mums would have just said to me, just stay safe, stay in your lane, do what's regular, do what's normal. But I think, when you are around people that think a little bit differently, that are pushing the boundaries, and you adopt that growth mindset, I think, like you said, you can build a business really, really fast, and you can build it to a level that you might not have even expected when you first got started as well. So I think that's really awesome. Now, you mentioned around the age factor there. Now, I'm not one to share someone's age online. We're not going to do that. But for someone that's listening to this, I work with a lot of clients, and they're all different ages, and a lot of them have been in their corporate careers for a long time. They've reached a high level of seniority, and they are looking to start a business, and they're usually, in their 50s or their 40s or, any sort of age. But when you get to that level where the technology may not be as familiar to you, what are some of the things that I think really helped you move through that barrier when it comes to social media?
Oh, quite a few things. Number one is being unafraid to ask questions and unafraid to ask for help and unafraid to employ people before I felt ready. Particularly, I grabbed an outsourcer from overseas who was just instrumental in getting me going, where I wasn't annoying family and friends asking questions. YouTube was my best friend, and lowering the expectations about how quickly I was going to be able to do this. I know you kids just do things like that, you youngsters, and that's fabulous. But hey, if it takes me a little bit longer, that's okay. I've got all the time in the world. I'll just keep going, and I'm very tenacious and I'm very resourceful, and I'll just keep going until I get there in the end. And I think that beats anything. And as I've grown older too, I'm facing, I was going to say facing my mortality, but definitely not facing retirement.
Don't make some sort of announcement or something now, Mum. You'll shock me.
No, I could see that I have a window of opportunity. When you're in your 50s, you can't make mistakes. You can't blow the money you've worked very, very hard for all of your life. You can't blow your super. You can't blow your property portfolio. But retirement is very, very close, and you have to do something dynamic. And if you don't do something dynamic, then your situation is not going to change fast enough for you to reach that retirement age, which is just around the corner. And if you ask a lot of people, Amy, they will give you an income goal like, I'd love to retire on $200,000 per year and things like that. The truth is, unless people do something dynamic with their property portfolio or their business, they are not going to retire in the manner in which they have dreamt of. And so you can see the time ticking away, and it's very, if not now, then when? What's stopping me? And even though on social media it was difficult, I know in my space there's all these beautiful young girls running around with short shorts on doing their DIY and face-to-camera videos. And that terrified me, but I've just decided just to let that go and just be me. And with me comes 30 years of experience that some of the youngies don't have. And like many of us in our 50s, we have a lifetime behind us of experience and knowledge. And
totally. May says, haha, oh mum. And then Stuart also says, it's only half time, forget retirement. I'm with you, Stuart. I don't see mum retiring anytime soon, Stuart. She is an absolute weapon, and I think she's going to be doing this for a long period of time when it comes to her business coaching, and then also her renovation coaching and consulting with her students and her education as well. So I think that's great in terms of what you just mentioned there around picking your lane and really being able to just find that sweet spot for yourself. I speak to people a lot too, and they think, well, I could never get on a Facebook Live, or I could never get on an Instagram Live or a LinkedIn Live or anything like that. And it's easy to feel like that in the beginning, because I think we all feel like that in the beginning. But I think it's just about taking those, little steps that you need to, and then building up that confidence with social media and content over time. And like you said, sort of just really being authentic with yourself and really thinking about, well, what is going to work for me in my business? You don't have to be that young 20-year-old that's going around and sharing videos or sharing what you've had for lunch or anything like that. It's about being strategic about what's really going to drive business results. And May also says here, you're a renovation superstar. Retirement is not an option. I agree with May.
Look, honestly, that's the other thing. When you're my age, all the kids have grown up. We have this knowledge. We have this time, this newfound time. Not running to netball. I'm not running soccer canteen and fizzy canteens and doing all of that. School fundraisers and sporting teams, and like, it's hectic when your kids are younger. When they're in their 20s, or at least when they've left high school, all of a sudden I had time on my hands, and I'm reasonably bright, I like to think. I just thought the worst thing in my life is going to lunches with ladies who are just talking about nothing and each other. Like, that just bores me to tears. And so I need more. I just needed more fuel. And starting a business in this age, I just highly recommend it. If anybody's thinking about it, don't think that it's too late. It is the perfect time to start a business. In fact, Gary V was talking about it one day, how powerful people are when they get started in their 50s because of all of the reasons that I've mentioned.
Totally. You've got the experience, you've usually got a network behind you, you've got a really good handle on, what sort of opportunities might be out there for you as well. And then I also think there is that element, like you said, it's now or never. If you're not going to do it now, you're really not going to do it ever. So I think for a lot of people, it's kind of mustering up that courage to really start getting out there. And Stuart also says as well, a really great point, that your clients are growing with you. So I think it's super important as well. Gisbert's here as well. Hello. Renav also here. Great. So I think it is. Yeah, I think it's super important to always be leveling up yourself, to Stuart's point around, you can only grow and your business can only grow as much as you do as the founder and as the owner. So I know for yourself and I, like our dinner table conversations are probably different to the average family. And I had Luke on last week as well. So people have been introduced to Luke, and, we're always talking about growth mindset and Facebook and marketing strategies and all the rest of it as well. And so I think if you don't have that around you, I think it's super important to go and seek that to make sure that you're on the right path. So what is some of the keys to success, do you think, for someone that is thinking about starting a business? What are some of the things that you think will really help set them up for success?
Amy, that I've always had a mentor. Like, there's been especially all of this technical stuff. I mean, really, I'm in the police force, you're on police computer systems, you're chasing baddies, you're going through the court process. You do what you do as a police person. And then for me to go from there to wanting to teach people about renovation and open a renovation consultancy, that was just a complete flip. I didn't have the knowledge, and I would ask you kids, but really back then, you do now, but back in the day when I first started this around 2012, there weren't as many people around me inside the family with this kind of level of knowledge. Now I draw a lot from you, Amy. I've learned to sell through you. I've learned to market through you and brand myself through you. I've learned a lot through Luke when it comes to running Facebook ads and writing good copy. I'm surrounded by the kids, which is, fabulous, Stuart. The whole family's smashing it. So proud. But beyond that, I've just reached out to a mentor every step of the way. First guy I worked with took me from, say, A to D. Then I thought, who's next? Who do I need to reach out to next? Who can take me from, CD to perhaps LM, and then who can take me from there further? I'm just always looking, what's my next right move? Who do I need to meet? What do I need to do? How can I bring more income into my business? How can I reach more people? I'm always on the move, and I'm not one for detail, which Amy will smile at because she knows, like, Amy, you are one for detail. I'm not one for detail. So that really works in the dynamic of our family as well, because you correct me when I just say, I'm pie in the sky.
I correct you.
No, you make me pay more attention to detail, which I've needed to do. And I think for the family, what I've probably done is just basically set this tone of, go for it, guys. You've got nothing to lose. Just go, go, go. Just go do it. And I don't think there are a lot of parents who do that, and I love the parents who do.
Yeah, I think it's great. And I think, with any sort of team dynamics, you've always got to look at your strengths, and then you've got to figure out, okay, where are the gaps and who do I need to help me to fill those gaps, and who can I lean on, like you said, in terms of mentors and coaches and things like that are going to take you to that next level. Because, we're only human and we can't be good at everything, and we shouldn't have to be good at everything, particularly in business. There's too many moving parts. So I think it's really important that you said, it's about sort of sometimes putting the ego to one side and saying, well, you know what, I need some help and it's now or never. And if I don't do this, then I'm just going to think in another 12 months or 2 years time, I can sit there and wonder why my life hasn't changed. So I think, we are kind of impatient for results in our family. It's kind of a good thing because it keeps us moving and it keeps us sort of leveling up. And I think if you don't have that around you, then you need to go find people that are like that so that you can get in that growth mindset and that ecosystem as well.
Also exposes you to other people's points of view. They see things you missed yourself. They see opportunities, can introduce you to opportunities that you can't do on your own. So it's so important to work with somebody in the space that or think at that time can just take you that next step and just keep on going and reaching out and developing and growing. And I still feel like for a lot of people, they would look at my business, the income that I'm earning, the 500 and something students, and they would say, right, you've done really well. And I have, but I still feel like I'm in launch phase. And I think that's happy as well. I still feel like this is the beginning for me. And I get really excited by my business, and I get excited watching you in yours, and I get excited watching my son in his. And it's fun. It is just on the table, guys. It's next level.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone should come and order Uber Eats at our place one night. We'll have a good marketing dinner table conversation.
It's great.
It's awesome. And I just really appreciate you coming on and dropping some wisdom here tonight, because the purpose behind these episodes is to really give people an insight into, the people that I know on LinkedIn who are actually, great people just behind their profiles and have a lot of value to bring and have a lot of expertise behind them to really be able to showcase the kind of people that are in my network. And you are definitely one of them for sure. So thank you so much, Belinda. I would love to hear from you if you've been listening to this. If you're catching the replay, let us know and do #replay and let us know what has been the biggest takeaway from you for the conversation tonight. Let us know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And next week, I will have a really special guest as well. Mum is very, very special, but this is another special guest I have. Ahmed Imam. You might have seen him on LinkedIn. He's pretty out there on LinkedIn in terms of the amount of content he has, and he has a massive following on LinkedIn, and I'm super excited to bring him on next week. We've shared the stage a few times, and so I'm really excited to dive in with Ahmed on some little secret sources to LinkedIn next week. Thank you so much, Belinda. If anyone else would like to also grab some real insights when it comes to LinkedIn and really starting to help get LinkedIn and social media happening for your business, you'll see on the screen there that you can download my LinkedIn blueprint, which is at amylsmith.com/blueprint. So thank you so much, Mum.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you for having me. Everyone, it is never too late to start your own business. Just get in there, start in a corner and just work away and think about what your next right move is. If you'd like to connect with me, you're really welcome to. I'm on social media at Renovate and Real Estate with the word and Renovate and Real Estate. And my website is renovateandrealestate.com.au. Thanks so much for having me, Amy. And guys, you're welcome to connect at any time with either one of us.
Absolutely. Jump over to Mum's LinkedIn profile and go and connect with her as well there. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you next week.